and tonight I'm going to start off this week by drawing an adorable puppy. Well, as you can see, I drew it ahead of time, so really I'm just coloring it. If you guys are curious as to what reference picture I'm using, all I did was I went to Google Images and searched adorable puppy, and I found this image somewhere in that search, so that's what I'm using as a reference photo. And let's get started. I'm going to get out my pencils. As always, I'm using Prismacolor colored pencils on Strathmore toned paper. This time it's tone tan. I've been using it in the past 2 weeks or so. I've come to really like this paper. I think it's a little bit better than the tone gray for things that are warmer in tones, whereas the tone gray is really good for things that are much cooler. Let's see, what else do I have here? Alright, I did this picture last week, so just so you guys see an example, I think the tone tan goes really well with skin tones just because it has a lot of similar hues in it. And I think it'll turn out really nicely on this puppy as well because the puppy is a golden retriever puppy, so the golden colors will really stand out. Now, allow me to get out my pencils. As always, I'll be starting with the eyes first, just because I really like doing that. And the pencil sharpener I use is the Prismacolor colored pencil sharpener. This you can buy at craft stores right next to the Prismacolors, wherever you'll find that. At Hobby Lobby, it was about $10, which is kind of expensive for a pencil sharpener, but if you use their 40% off coupon, it's only $6, and it's a huge saving. So make sure if you're at Hobby Lobby, you check out that coupon on their website before you go, or you can access it on your phone while you're at checkout. And I forgot to pick up a new black pencil this weekend, so I'm still stuck with the short one that I was using last week. Hopefully I'll get that replaced soon. Michaela, the best place to buy new Prismacolor pencils in the color black, or any color for that matter, is someplace like Hobby Lobby or Michael's, where you can buy the colors individually. Those stores, they sell them for about $2 on average, and you can also use their store coupons, so you can save a little bit of money there when you buy them. I think that buying individual pencils, it's an excellent way to work with Prismacolors because whenever you buy a large set, there's a lot of colors that you'll use very rarely, whereas some colors you'll use rather frequently. So it's good to have that balance, and because they sell the individual pencils at the store, it's really easy to replenish them. Whenever I draw animals like dogs, I always end up coloring the eye in very dark first, and then I add the highlights on top, which really brings it to life. So I apologize now that the dog looks like it has these scary dark soul eyes. Destiny, I think it depends on which paper I like better, and I think that it's entirely dependent on what the overall temperature of the picture of the piece you're looking for. So you want a piece that comes off as a bit warmer. I would use the tone tan. If you want something a bit cooler, you would use tone gray, just because those are the natural temperatures of the paper. And like for instance, if you're drawing a polar bear or something in the piece, you'd most likely want it to be very cool because it's related to ice and snow. So I would use tone gray in that situation. I think it's great to have both of them just so you can interchangeably use one or the other. Right now I don't have any more tone gray, I just have the tone tan because I was at the craft store last time and I decided that instead of just buying another pad of tone gray, I was going to change it up and use tone tan. Rita, no, this is not my dog, although I do want to draw my dog for one of these videos, but I didn't do it tonight. Maybe some other night I will. Okay, now to bring the dog to life and make it look like it's not so soulless, I'm going to use a white Sharpie paint marker. These you can get at any craft store, I think, and Walmart as well. They're pretty easy to find, and they're rather inexpensive too. What's cool about them is that they make adding little accent marks of white really easy. All you have to do is shake it up, and you instantly get some white ink. Well, it's actually paint, excuse me. What's cool is if you want to smudge it a bit or make it a little bit more transparent, you can smudge it with your fingers ever so slightly, and it will add another layer of dimension. Melinda, my favorite thing to draw would be people, whether it be the human face or the human body. I just think that it's something that's really relatable to draw, and it also gives me a sense of accomplishment because sometimes it can be really hard to draw, but at the same time, it's really rewarding once you're able to draw it. And it's just something that I've always loved drawing just because the arrangement of all the features and everything is just something that's really fun to draw. And of course, it's human. It's something that I really enjoy, so it's something I've always drawn. If you want to see some examples of drawings of people I've made, you can check out my Instagram, which is linked in the video's description. And guys, don't forget to check out the links in the video's description. You'll find a link to my Instagram account where you can check out some of my other pieces and other things I do. You can check out my Etsy store where you can buy some of my drawings if you'd like. I greatly appreciate all of the purchases that you guys have made there because all the money is going towards my trip to France this upcoming spring break. I'm going with my school district. Every year they sponsor a EF Tours trip to various countries. It always includes France though because it's sponsored by the French department, and they basically just have it open and anyone that can pay, they can go. So I've been saving up all my money from selling my drawings and stuff to go on this, and I'm super excited. So that's another reason to go check out my Instagram, is because you'll get all the updates from my trip. You'll see a bunch of cool pictures. I'll take plenty of pictures, don't worry. So make sure you guys also go follow my Instagram so you can see those. And then the last link that's listed is a link to Kids Activities blog where you can download and print some free coloring pages that I created. There you'll see a lot more new coloring pages coming out. I've made a whole bunch in the past couple of days, so those should be popping up on the website anytime now. I'll give you guys updates once they're actually up there because last time I checked I didn't see them posted yet. So there's, like I said, I think there's about 6 that I made in the last 3 days. So there's lots for you guys to color. Kia, that's a lot of determination to go to Hobby Lobby, to cross state boundaries for that. Just curious, how far away is that from your house? Kathy, if you check out the video's description, you'll see a link to Kids Activities blog where you can download and print some free coloring pages that I've created. All of the coloring pages are based off of drawings that I've done here on Quirky Mama, so you'll see a lot of familiar drawings there. And as I make new drawings here, I'll slowly turn them into coloring pages where you guys can download and print those. How I do it is I basically trace the drawing that I colored live. So for instance, once I finish this puppy, I'll tear him out and I'll use my window as a light box so the light transfers through, and I'll trace it onto a blank sheet of paper, and then I use ink pens like microns right here to outline everything, and I'll add in some details depending on what it is, and I scan it, then upload it to Kids Activities blog for you guys to download and print. And in all of the pages, that includes the download links, I have a video embedded from Facebook Live, so you guys can rewatch some of the older videos I have in case you guys wanted to color along. That's cool if you want to do that. I have them embedded for you, so make sure you go check that out. Man, I'm always shuffling through my pencils and stuff. I'm trying to find specific materials, but sometimes I have to dig for it. So if you hear random noises, that's what it is. And guys, always remember, whenever you're planning on using light colors to color something and you have a sketched background in graphite, always make sure that you erase that graphite before you put down the color, because if you color on top of graphite with a lightly colored Prismacolor pencil, you'll trap the graphite underneath. So if you don't want that, make sure you erase the graphite. It's imperative that you do so, because if you're planning on having this lightly colored face of a dog and you have these graphite marks underneath and you color over them, those graphite marks will remain there forever. So there's no going back after that. Remember, make sure you erase. Sometimes I forget to do it, so I'm just letting you guys know. Whoops. I need to replace the eraser on this. Usually whenever I color things, I color it piece by piece. Very rarely do I apply an entire layer of one color and then add detail on top of it, but for this particular dog picture, since I don't quite have the right pencils to match the color exactly, I decided that I'm going to color the entire thing with this cream color, which is a white and yellow mixture. I'm going to color the face with that before I add other colors on top of it, just because it will make it much easier to blend colors later on, since I'm going to have to do a little bit of that to get the ideal golden fur color. And I'm using the mechanical sharpener pencil erasers right now because unfortunately I misplaced my nice eraser that I was using. I forgot the name. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's either Blum or Bloom. I got it at Hobby Lobby and it's worked pretty well, but it's unfortunate that I misplaced it. That happens every so often, so hopefully I find it soon, because it's a lot easier to erase with a large eraser than mechanical pencils. And I would give you more advice on erasers if I had it with me, just so I could show it to you, but It's important to use an eraser that really works for you. Don't just experiment with any eraser. Make sure you find an eraser that you like, because some erasers are kind of gross and they do a better job at blending than erasing, I would say. Sometimes I'll buy mechanical pencils that look really cute at the Target dollar section, but I'll try to use the eraser on the back of it and it smears everything together. So those are terrible ideas. But another kind of eraser that you'll see often is the gum eraser, spelled G-U-M. If you're trying to erase graphite, this doesn't do a very good job. It smears it more than it erases it. So just be aware of that. Do know that it makes a great blender for Prismacolors. So if you are looking for an effective blender for your pencils, I would get this eraser. It does lighten the color though because it is an eraser, but it does do a good job at blending colors together. Well, most of the time whenever I draw animals, I do look at pictures just because I don't have photographic memory with animals, and I do have to look at a picture to get the colors and the shading right. So most of the time for animals, I just do a quick search on Google Images to find something. Most of my pictures come up in like the first 5 results. This one, I don't remember. I looked for it earlier today, so all I know is I used the search term adorable puppy and it came up. So you can try your best to find it if you're really interested in that. Most of you guys should be aware of the Hobby Lobby and Michaels coupons by now. On the websites of those craft stores, you'll find a 40% off coupon that is applicable to any item in the store that's at regular price. So that'll save you a lot of money. Make sure you guys look for it. But also another thing that's a little bit lesser known, although I'm pretty sure a lot of you do this already. At Michaels, if you have one near your house, make sure you sign up for their rewards program, because they'll send you emails that include coupons that are up to 60% off any regular priced item. And most of the time those coupons, they only last for the day that they're sent. So it's important that you have a Michaels close by so you can get there once they send you that. Usually what I do sometimes is I have an idea of what art supplies I need to buy, and that kind of is like a list that I have. And then once I end up getting one of those emails, I go on over to Michaels and I buy what I need for 60% off. So it's a good thing to know that exists. They send them out pretty frequently, I'd say. I think at least once a month they send one. So it's something to be on the lookout for. It's really helpful if you're planning on buying something like a large set of paints or Prismacolors, for example. it's better than just settling for the 40% off. Stacy, the Quirky Mama Facebook page updates with lots of posts every hour, so make sure that if you want to come and rewatch these videos, it's easiest to find these videos the next day by clicking on the videos tab on the Quirky Mama Facebook page and clicking on all videos and then just scrolling down. Since, like, compared to the number of posts and videos, there's a lot less videos, so it should be really easy to find a video from the previous night by just scrolling through the all videos page. One tip, whenever you're coloring things that are pink or red in hue, and you're trying to shade it, don't always just go for the darker version of the base color for the piece that you're drawing, because if you do that, most of the time you'll just oversaturate something. I don't know if I have a good example for just pinks, but I do. So here I colored the tongue with this color. If I wanted to go darker, I wouldn't just go down to this magenta color and then darker, 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 and maintaining the hue, because whenever that happens, you'll just oversaturate something. So it's important to balance it out with more earthy tones or subtle colors like browns. Whenever you're coloring something that's warm, so that includes yellows, oranges, reds, and pinks, it's important to use things like brown. Brown does a great job at shading something without oversaturating it. So as you can see, right now I'm coloring parts of the tongue that I want shaded with a brown color rather than a darker pink, although I will be using a little bit of it. Is important. I mean, it is important to use a little bit of a darker pink, but don't use too much of it, because like I said, you can oversaturate something. And by using browns, you can lightly shade it without making it too intense. Typically, whenever I make these live videos, my phone notifications don't buzz at all, even though I usually I don't put my phone on Do Not Disturb whenever I make these videos, but um, and it wouldn't buzz or anything. But now it looks like it is. So if you guys are hearing that buzz and you see the camera move a little, don't worry, that was just my phone going off. I am recording with my phone after all, so hold on. Let me switch that to where it shouldn't buzz anymore, because it does shift the camera a bit. And that shouldn't have happened. I am using Prismacolor colored pencils on Strathmore Tone Tan paper. Angie, this will be up on Etsy once I finish it. I definitely don't have enough time to finish it tonight, so I will definitely finish it tomorrow. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Central Time to watch that video where I complete it. And shortly after that video, I will definitely put it up on Etsy. crayons. This is the front cover of the Tone Tan sketch pad from Hobby Lobby. It's by Strathmore, so in case you guys are wanting to purchase this at the store, this is what you look for. The tone gray is very similar, except the drawing right here is different. It's of a woman, and it has a sample on tone gray paper, as it should. So this paper, it's only $11.99 at Hobby Lobby, but you can also use that coupon, remember, and you'll get some big savings on it. Diane, I used cream to color a base coat on the dog's fur so then I could add colors on top of it. Since I don't have the Prismacolor of the exact shade of Golden Retriever Blonde I need, I wanted to have that base to where I already have a waxy foundation, and then on top of that I could use my other colors to blend. It just makes blending a lot easier if you have a foundation underneath it, but something I don't normally do because most of the time I can work pretty well with the colors that I'm given, but in this case I really wanted to make sure I was able to blend. And I think I will be using Colorless Blender in this, so for those of you who want to see more of that, I'll be using it. I don't know about this video since I only have about 15 minutes, but I'll definitely be using it tomorrow. This coloring job is a lot more than I expected. I thought I was just gonna draw a little puppy, but no, this dog takes a lot more time than I expected. But yeah, and I will definitely be doing my videos even though I get enough money for my trip. That's not the purpose of me making these videos. Um, I'll be making these videos as long as I can. As you guys know, I'm currently a senior in high school, so that means that this fall I'm going off to college, and just depending on various factors, I'll decide if I want to continue making these videos in college. It'd be a great little job to have in college, so I'd like to, but it depends on my workload, my schedule, and however, like what kind of internet connection I have in my dorm, because if the dorm room that I'm staying at this fall has terrible internet connection, it'd be almost impossible for me to make these videos. So you guys will just have to see. I think since I don't really have any major plans this summer, I'll be making them throughout the summer, definitely. Even if I can't make videos or during my college career, I'll definitely make you guys some coloring pages that you can download and print, because that doesn't require a stable internet connection. But who knows? We'll see what happens. June, I haven't been accepted to my choice of college yet. I'm waiting on college decisions right now. They all come out at the end of March, so I have to do a lot of waiting. I think it's probably the worst part of the college application process is just waiting, because at that point there's really nothing I can do to better my applications or anything like that. I mean, I am interviewing a lot. A lot of schools have asked me to come out for interview, not to the school, but local alumni interviews. I've been interviewing, so there's that. But other than interviewing, there's not really much I can do to improve my application in any way. So it is just a game of waiting, and it's the worst part, because that's all I want right now. That's what I want more than anything, is to get into the schools of my dreams, and waiting on that is quite painful sometimes. But I'm really excited for the end of March. Once I decide on where I'm going, I'll definitely tell you guys. I don't know what it's going to be like right now. I applied to a lot of schools because I was selected as a finalist for this program called QuestBridge, which helps match low-income students to top colleges. And through their program, I was able to apply to a lot of colleges for free. So after all the results come out, I'll have a lot to choose from, and I'll definitely let you guys know, because I'm super excited about it. Now, as many of you guys know, because I've mentioned it previously, I'm currently in the International Baccalaureate Diploma program at my school, which is a rigorous academic program that requires you to take tons of different classes, and you have to take exams for them, and it's full of different projects and stuff. But right now I'm reaching the part of the year where a bunch of the projects are due and a lot of assignments are due. There's also studying and reading, so I'm approaching that time of year where studying becomes imperative. I mean, it always has been, but even more so right now, because we're having a lot of major assessments come up. And these assessments actually factor into the finalized IB scores, which are that's basically the end game of it. But so sometimes I may not be able to stream every night, just a warning so you guys know, because if I have a project due in a week and I need extra time to work on it, I definitely want to take that time and not have to worry about making a video and then rushing to finish it at the end of the night. So I'll be giving you guys updates on when I won't be making videos. Hopefully I'll know ahead of time, because usually I never let my schedule get too hectic. I'm pretty good about my work and I keep it organized on time and everything. So if I have to not make a video, if I have to forego the video one night, I'll let you guys know ahead of time. Emily, I'm not going to college for art. I'm actually going to college to study computer science. I'm particularly interested in just developing computer software or studying artificial intelligence. I currently take a lot of computer science classes at my school, and I study it outside of school, whether it be with textbooks or online courses through MIT. MIT, they offer this website called OpenCourseWare, where you can take free classes from their university online. It's pretty cool. However, not all of their little classes that's listed on their website, not all of them have the video lectures, which is what I typically prefer, but it's just something that I've always really been interested in, and I've decided that it's what I want to study because there's so much to learn, and it's the next frontier of human development and advancement of technology. So something I definitely want to be a part of, and I'm really excited to go to college and study it because I'll be immersed in an environment where I have all the resources I need and all the classes and professors to study whatever I want in it. And since, I mean, I'm only a high school student, I can only spend so much time like exploring and studying, and I only have so many resources. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do as a career with it yet, but in college I'll definitely discover that and decide upon it. Abby, the frequency in which I replace my colors entirely depends on what color it is, because some colors I use faster, I use it faster than others, whereas some I barely touch at all. And if you look at my little pencil tray, you can tell which ones I don't use by their length. For instance, this dark mulberry color, the metallics, and things like that I rarely use, so I never replace those. Although this is really interesting. My favorite color I rarely use, but oh well. Anyways, some colors like the blacks, the grays, and the browns, and white, I replace those rather frequently. I'd say like once a month or every 2 months. I think black and white are the ones I replace the most. Those I replace a month or 2, and the others I think maybe 3 months. So they last a while with me. Again, another thing that can shorten the lifespan of your colors is if you drop them on the floor, because whenever they drop on the floor, the color inside has a chance of breaking, and whenever that breaks and you try to sharpen it, the little pieces of color will just fall out. And that's really unfortunate because these pencils are not that cheap, and if you're losing the color inside, you're essentially losing money. So that's why it's good to invest in a nice sharpener like the Prismacolor sharpener. This sharpener, it works really well with Prismacolors. It does a good job at not breaking them, and it helps hold them together. However, like I mentioned, if you drop them, no matter how good of sharpener you have, if it's broken on the inside, there's nothing that can really save it. So you have to be careful with that. But this pencil does really, this pencil sharpener does a really good job at keeping the pencil sharp and everything. It's about $10 at Hobby Lobby, but you can always use their 40% off coupon found on their website to save money. And you see this little black mark right here? This is something I don't think I've talked about much, but you have to be really careful about this. And I've only really experienced it with mechanical pencil erasers, but I don't know, I call this eraser grime. Sometimes on an eraser, you'll get this little piece of the gummy material that's molded with the graphite, and sometimes whenever you erase, that leaves a little streak on the paper, and sometimes it's hard to see. And if you end up coloring over it, like I did right here, you'll smear around and create a dark little spot. So just be very careful with that, because you don't want to ruin your pictures. Again, like I don't really like using these erasers, but since I misplaced my nice eraser, I kind of had to use them. So just be aware of that. And if you're questioning the cleanliness of your eraser, always clean it off on a scratch piece of paper, or if you use the sketchbook, you can always erase on the cover or the back of it just to get off some of the gunk and the extra coloring, because you don't want to risk messing up one of your pictures. Oh, it's already 10:29, almost 10:30, so it's time for me to get going. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate all your likes, other reactions. I know there's like hearts and fun stuff like that, your comments and your shares on this video. And I also really like answering your guys' questions. As I said previously, I'll be finishing this puppy tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Central Time, so make sure you don't miss it. And if you want to ensure that you make it to the video on time, you can turn on notifications for the Quirky Mama Facebook page. So every time a live video starts, you'll get a notification and you'll never miss it. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure you check out the links in the video's description. Good night. It's Natalie, and tonight I'm going to finish last night's drawing, which was of an adorable puppy. As you guys know, last night I didn't finish it, so tonight I am finishing it. Hopefully I'll be able to. I think I will be, just because I have most of the details figured out. But as always, I'm using Prismacolor colored pencils on Strathmore toned paper. I'm using Tone Tan for this particular video. And in addition, I also use the Prismacolor pencil sharpener to sharpen off my pencils, because it works pretty well. You can get all of these supplies at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, but if you don't have craft stores like that in your area, you can always check out Amazon, where you'll be able to find plenty of art supplies like these. So let's begin. Let me get out some of my colors. That's one thing I have to do. Alright, now we're ready to continue. Although I did kind of forget which yellow I was using, so I may have to experiment a bit. If the video is blurry for you, try exiting the video and re-entering. Hopefully that clears up the problem. I'm currently not getting any messages saying that I have a poor connection, so it will probably be on your end at this time. But if I do get a message saying I have a poor connection, I'll let you guys know, just so if you're having trouble connecting, it will be on my end and not yours. But sometimes like, there's weird glitches and stuff where the video just simply doesn't load properly, and by refreshing it, you can sometimes fix a lot of those problems. Unfortunately, if your video is blurry, there's nothing I can do right now to fix it, so hopefully it goes away. Oops, that broke. So right now I'm just going to use a little bit of the Colorless Blender because I noticed in some spaces the pencil looks really sketchy in the wrong direction too. Like for instance, I see these lines headed in this direction, which is against the gradient of the fur, and I just kind of wanted to fix that. So the Colorless Blender is nice because you can kind of move around the pigments and blend it out to where the streakiness will go away. But sometimes you do want some degree of streakiness, especially if you're coloring things like fur, because it does have some texture. However, you have to be careful as to what direction the streaks are going in, because if the fur is going vertically, you don't want any horizontal lines. Unfortunately, a lot of you guys are having problems with the video being blurry. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it, so maybe if you try coming back later, it may go away. I really don't know what the cause of it could be, so that's kind of puzzling. For those of you who are just now entering the video, I'm using Prismacolor colored pencils on Strathmore Tone Tan paper. And for those of you who are waiting for your video to become unblurry, since a lot of you are having that problem, it appears, and I'm really sorry about that, you can check out the video description where you'll find a bunch of links. You'll find one to my Instagram where you can look at some of my Instagram pictures, which includes drawings and other things I do. And you can go to my Etsy store and look at some of my drawings there, or purchase them if you'd like. And then finally, you can go to Kids Activities blog where you can download and print some free coloring pages that I created. Again, all those coloring pages are free, and they're all based off of old live stream videos that I've done. So you can go print those, and if you can get the videos to load, I embedded videos inside all of the posts, so you can color along if you'd like. Those are there, and there's lots more to come out as well. I have many pages in lineup right now, so once they're all released, I'll definitely tell you guys about those because I have a bunch. Andrea, my blending recommendations vary depending on what it is you're trying to color. In general, I typically prefer just to use the pencils themselves to blend the colors together. So for instance, I'll start coloring with one color and then I'll start to add a darker or lighter color, and then I'll come back in with the original color and use either horizontal, vertical, or circular motions to blend everything together. That usually works for most things. However, some things are a little bit more difficult to blend, and most of the time I come across that problem with darker colors, like if I'm using dark browns and blacks and gray. No, not so much grays. For some reason, I think that the gray colored pencils are really easy to blend. I just feel like the pencils themselves are a little bit more waxy and they blend easier with each other. But as for the browns, sometimes I have a little bit of difficulty blending those, especially with skin tones. I have trouble getting the colors to be super smooth. So in that case, I like to use things like this gum eraser. It does lighten the color a little bit though because it is an eraser, but this does a good job at pushing all the colors together. And sometimes I also use the Colorless Blender. I don't use it too often, but there are a couple of cases where I use it, and I'm not entirely familiar with it yet, so there's sometimes where if I encounter a blending problem, I may try to use this to solve my way through it. So really it's best just to know a bunch of different blending techniques, and as you're going, like just depending on how you feel the color is, and sometimes whenever I say feel the color, I mean like literally like, kind of feel the texture. Just with your pencil, if you're going over it and it feels kind of rough and it's not very smooth and waxy, sometimes you may need something like the Colorless Blender or the gum eraser to come in and help blend everything else. So I think a lot of it lies in problem solving, so it's best to have many options for blending, not just one. Missy, the colors that I was using for the Golden Retriever itself, I used chocolate, I used light umber, goldenrod, cream, and white. I tried just like little patches of these two colors, but I ended up not using them. So I used those, and oh, I also used dark brown. So those are the colors I used for the dog. And for this, I used a couple colors like spring green, um, olive green, and there's one more, true green. So those are the colors I used for the little dog tag, in case you guys are curious. As you see, I am still erasing with the mechanical pencil. It's day 2 and I still haven't found my nice eraser. So hopefully that shows up soon, otherwise I'll just have to go get a new one. But typically I don't recommend using an eraser like this just because, I mean, it's really small and inefficient. I don't know if you guys are seeing this right now, but I'm actually having some trouble with this eraser. As I'm erasing, it's leaving behind this gunk. And the problem with that is that whenever I go over it with a lighter color, that gunk gets spread around on the paper by the Prismacolor, and it's really hard to get out. It creates these little streaky marks, like right here. It happened yesterday. There's this little black mark on the dog's forehead. That was the result of these weird gunk marks. So I feel like mechanical pencil erasers, they're prone to develop that just because they're really cheap, and I mean, the mechanical pencils I have, you buy like 24 of them in a package for like $4. So pencils aren't that high quality, although they are good for sketching. I enjoy using them for just about everything because the pencil part themselves work really well. The eraser gets the job done if you're writing or you're doing math or something, you just need to erase something quickly. But as for drawing and coloring, I really don't recommend the eraser. But yeah, my hand really only gets sore whenever I'm using the shorter pencils and having to color a large area with a solid color. So if there was a large box somewhere, or say if I'm drawing a portrait and the person is wearing a black t-shirt and I try to color in all that space with a small pencil like this, my hand really does hurt afterwards. But whenever I use standard size pencils and I'm just coloring like normally, I guess, it doesn't really hurt my hands whatsoever. Andrea, the colors I typically buy refills for, or just additional pencils simply, in addition to black and white, I buy a lot of the variations of the cool grays and the warm grays, so that includes the 30% and 50%. And I also go through a lot of the dark brown pencils. Chocolate is one that I recently started using, but I'm using it up rather quickly, so I think chocolate's a really good color. Light umber is a good one, and dark umber, those are also good colors to have, just because they're browns and they can be used to shade warm colored things, whether it be yellow, orange, or red. And it also depends on what you want to draw. If you're drawing human faces, there are certain colors that go better with human faces, and you'll probably want to stock up on those if you draw a lot of that. But again, really it just depends on where you're trying to draw, but usually the browns, the grays, and black and white are my go-to pencils. Andrea, I don't ever really use rulers or compasses or anything to draw any of my shapes. Most of the shapes I draw are pretty organic, so they're all kind of free flowing and there's lots of curvatures and everything. So I kind of just freehand everything. I don't use any rulers. But though there has been a couple of times where I've sketched a building maybe in my sketchbook where I wanted to do like a little, like maybe I'll sketch a computer. I'm just thinking of some of the things I've drawn in my sketchbook that I have used a ruler for. Usually those are just small little sketches and not finished art pieces. But occasionally in my sketchbook I do use a ruler, but not in my finished pieces. Andrea, in the video's description, you'll find a link to my Etsy account where you can purchase some of my drawings if you're interested. Lydia, I do have Instagram. If you check the video's description, you'll find a link to my profile where you can go follow me. And the last link in the video's description, which no one asked for yet, but it's a link to Kids Activities blog where you can download and print some free coloring pages that I created. So those are really fun to do. Again, they're free, so you just download the PDF and print it out on your own, and you can color in any material you want, but just be careful if you're printing directly onto printer paper, because if you want to use wet mediums like paint, it may cause the paper to warp. So a little trick that you can do is you can get nicer paper. Like you can even take the toned tan paper, for instance. Again, for those of you who missed it, this is toned tan paper. I typically use toned papers in my videos just because I like the way that the Prismacolors pop on top of the toned background. But these pages are perforated, so you can fold it and tear it out. And what you can do is do that with a blank piece of paper and put the blank piece of paper inside of your printer and then print the coloring page on top. So then you can color with a nice background. And since all the coloring pages have outlines in black, what you can do is you can take the PDF or you can take a screenshot of it and you can put it into Photoshop or some other photo editing program, and you can change the transparency on the lines to where it's like almost completely transparent to where you can vaguely see the lines, but not too much, so it's like a light gray or something. And then what you can do is you can save that image and print that, so whenever you print it, the lines will barely be there and you can color things more realistically. But everything has lines by default, so if you wanted to lighten them, you'd have to go in and do that manually. And Andrea, I go live on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. But occasionally I'll have to skip a day or two due to school because my schedule can be kind of unpredictable sometimes, dependent on what I have going on in any given week. I will warn you guys right now that I'm approaching the middle of the spring semester, and what happens then as a high school senior in the IB program is that I have a lot of projects to finish, I have a lot of assignments and studying to do, so depending on the workload, I may have to skip some videos, but hopefully I'll know in advance so I can let you guys know. One thing you do need to know is in May, like early to mid-May, I probably won't be making any videos because that's when my IB exams are, and I'd like to take every moment of free time I have to study. So I'll be doing that in May. Don't expect any videos then. I'll definitely give you guys updates on when exactly those are, so you won't be expecting videos then, but I will leave you with lots of coloring pages so you guys can do those in the meantime. Maria, I haven't decided on what I'll be coloring tomorrow night. Usually I don't decide until the day of, but one thing that I do appreciate is if you guys have some good ideas for drawings, you can leave those ideas down in the comment section, and as I read the comments, I'll see those ideas and it will be put into my little idea box in my brain, so whenever it comes time to think of something to draw, that will be in my mind, so maybe I'll end up drawing it. It just, I don't really know how I decide upon what I'll be drawing. It's kind of just, I think of what I'm in the mood for that day, so if you guys could give suggestions, that would be awesome because I may end up using them. Sandy, I've actually been thinking about drawing a mermaid lately. That's something that I have wanted to do, so who knows, we may see that soon. Oops. Alright, so I'm finished with this puppy. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and last night's video as well. If you missed it, you can always go to the videos tab on Quirky Mama's Facebook page and scroll around in the all videos section until you find last night's video, in case you wanted to see the beginning of it. But I really like how this turned out. I really like dogs like this. They look really, really cute. So if you guys are interested in purchasing this piece yourself, I know I saw a couple comments last night of a few people that were asking about it. It will be on Etsy tonight within like 5 to 10 minutes. So you can keep your eyes on Etsy in case you guys are interested in it. As always, make sure you check out the links in the video's description where you'll find my Etsy account, you'll find my Instagram, and you'll find Kids Activities blog where you can download and print some free coloring pages. Really, guys, thank you so much for all your lovely comments, likes, shares, and everything for this video. I really like answering your guys' questions and everything each night. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. So I'll see you there. And make sure you have notifications on for Quirky Mama's Facebook page so you get notifications every time a video goes live, so you won't miss any. So until then, good night.